3 points to be able to communicate in Japanese in the fastest way. For those who are currently studying Japanese or would like to study Japanese in the future, do you want to simply be a language researcher, or do you want to be able to communicate in Japanese? If you are the latter, please watch this video to the end. In this video, I will show you the 3 most important points to be able to communicate in Japanese in the fastest way, and the most important things to remember when you study Japanese. Just by watching this video, you will know how you should study Japanese. I also have a little gift for you at the end. I was born and raised in Japan and currently live in Australia. In Japan, I was an elementary school teacher. I'm currently using the experience to teach private lessons online and in person, as well as at a supplementary Japanese language school in Australia. The total number of students is over 100. I came to Australia because I wanted to be able to speak English, to be able to talk to people from different countries, to learn about different cultures, and to broaden my horizons. I have now been living in Australia for 7 years. When I first came to Australia, I had a hard time because I couldn't speak English at all. Also, I had studied English a little when I was in Japan. It wasn't at all useful there. I was all alone without any friends. I felt like I was not myself, and it was very hard for me. So I understand very well the feelings of those who are studying Japanese now. In order to be able to speak English, I went to a language school and studied hard. What was good about that was that I had a teacher whom I could ask questions anytime, and then I had friends to study with. I had the clear objective of what I wanted to learn to speak English for. The environment was very good, and I was able to continue studying without being discouraged. Now, I can communicate in English, have many friends, and work using English. And now that I can speak English, my world has expanded a lot. I started teaching Japanese because I wanted to help people broaden their lives. I hope that learning Japanese will enrich your life and make you happy. For those who have already started studying Japanese but find it difficult to learn to speak it, how do you study? Watch YouTube, self-study, studying only grammar and vocabulary. Input study method that focuses on reading, writing, and listening. Are you studying in this way? If you study in this way, you will not be able to speak Japanese very well. First of all, watch YouTube. Anyone can post on YouTube, and there are videos that convey incorrect knowledge. You will think you have studied just by watching videos, and there is no place to output your knowledge. Next is self-study. You cannot be sure if you are really studying the right way and gaining the right knowledge, and you become self-satisfied. Therefore, you might be putting your energy into the wrong elements of the language. It is also very difficult to stay motivated to study, and studying only to memorize grammar and vocabulary. This alone will not help you learn to speak. I have met many people who know many words but cannot speak. You can't learn to communicate by input alone. Finally, study methods that only focuses on reading and writing input. If you want to be able to speak, you must practice speaking. Being able to read and write Japanese is completely different from being able to speak it. But if you have been studying this way, this is not your fault. It is just that you are not taught the correct way to study. If you know the correct way to study, you will surely be able to speak Japanese, so don't worry. Next, I will introduce the study method. First of all, how did we learn the language we speak now? When you were a baby, you started by listening to many words and imitating them. I think we learned reading and writing when we were able to speak. It is said that the quickest way to learn to speak other language is to learn them in the same way as you learned your own language. Listen to it, imitate it, say it, learn a little grammar, arrange it, and learn to speak it. In my Japanese classes, we learn Japanese in this way. So you will not only learn grammar and vocabulary, but you will also be able to speak it. Lessons are also taught in English, so you don't need to be able to speak Japanese at this point. Here are 3 points to keep in mind. 1. Don't worry about difficult words and grammar. Just memorize Japanese phrases and idioms. 2. Create opportunity to output. Use the phrases you have learned every day. 3. Exposure to Japanese every day. Self-study. Listen anyway, speak, learn just one phrase a day, and you will be able to say 7 phrases in a week, 30 in a month, and 365 in a year. This is enough to have a basic conversation. By practicing out loud over and over again, you will be able to say them perfectly, which will give you confidence and make you want to try speaking. You will be able to say it perfectly. It is important to accumulate such successful experiences. But even if you know that my name is Izumi means my name is Izumi, if you don't know which word refers to which word, you will not be able to use it in other ways. It is important to learn grammar and vocabulary, but it is even more important to listen to the language carefully and imitate native speakers' pronunciation and speaking style. People who improve quickly in a language are also good at pretending to be a native speaker. You can imitate their speech, inflection, body language, and even their appearance. If you live in the country, imitate the locals. Your listening skills will improve dramatically if you imitate their inflections and speech patterns and actually speak the language. Create opportunity to output. Use the phrases you learn anyway. No matter how much input you give, if you don't have opportunities to output, it will be difficult to improve your language skills. By practicing repeatedly, you will become familiar with the sounds and rhythms of the Japanese language. The best thing to do is to make Japanese friends. But there are no Japanese people around. There are some who say, I don't have any Japanese friends around me. But don't worry, there are many other ways. For example, you can talk to yourself in Japanese. Let's say your plans for the day in Japanese. Try using it in your social networking post and so on. You will make the language your own. The words you can say will come naturally to your ears, and this will help you improve your communication skills. I also teach you how to do shadowing, which you can do by self-study. Why is it so difficult to output in the first place? It is because you have to bring your awareness to a level where you can use it without being aware of it. When you ride a bicycle, you don't have to think about what you need to do you? This is because your knowledge of bicycle operation has reached a level where you can use it without being conscious of it. In the case of Japanese as well, you will be able to speak fluently by raising your knowledge to a level where you can use it without being conscious of it. So, what is needed to achieve this? It is to practice and practice. You need to keep training to output in Japanese continuously and repetitively. That's why I'm here. There is a community of people who are learning Japanese together. It is also important to objectively evaluate your Japanese output. Comparing your own Japanese with that of a model and noticing the differences is an important step in improving your output. In doing so, it is very efficient to consciously analyze what is different, whether it is individual sounds, shrilling, or weakness, intonation, and so on. For this reason, at the end of my lessons, I take a video of both my pronunciation and the student's pronunciation and send it to them after the lesson. This way, you can practice and analyze it over and over again. You can then compare and see how much your Japanese has improved. This is something I didn't do when I studied English, and I regret it very much, so I urge everyone to do this. Putting the grammar and vocabulary you study and learn into your head is just knowledge. But you should be able to actually use it as language in your daily life. Why it is important doing so is to be able to communicate without shame. Many people who are studying a foreign language must have felt such embarrassment as I'm embarrassed because I can't speak well, or I'm embarrassed if I make a mistake. It is true that if you can't speak the language well, you are worried that you will be seen as a child. However, native speakers don't care as much as you think. In fact, many people are very happy to see you trying your best to communicate in the local language. For example, my friends were very impressed when people from overseas could just say thank you or excuse me in Japanese. You speak, realize your mistakes, feel frustrated. This is how you get better and better. Daily exposure to Japanese, self-study. The cause of your inability to speak Japanese is quite simple. The reason why you can't speak Japanese is that you are not learning enough Japanese. Even in the language you can speak now, it is taking a long time before you can speak it. It takes more than a few years to be able to speak Japanese in 2 to 3 lessons 1 hour each per week. If you want to improve your Japanese in the fastest possible time, self-study is a must. However, self-study is not very effective. Why is self-study so difficult? It is not possible to ask questions when you want to ask them. It is difficult to practice correct pronunciation, to pattern language, and to remember to practice. When we study alone, we inevitably stop studying. When we are busy, and you can lose motivation and fail to continue to study. Because the best practice to continue studying is you need a teacher, friends, and a good environment. Here, you will have all of these elements. And it is also important to get in touch with Japanese people, culture, and society. The greater your interest in Japan, the more you want to be able to speak it. The greater your interest in Japan, the greater your desire to learn to speak Japanese. Therefore, it is important to be exposed to Japanese people, culture, and society. In my lessons, I will introduce Japanese culture and society. And since I'm a native speaker, you can ask me anything. And you do it for yourself, not because others make you do it. This is very important in learning. Important points for language acquisition. However, even with these points in mind, it is difficult to learn a language on your own. So, what is it that people who make rapid progress in a language have in place? It is teachers, friends, clear objectives. So, why are these three necessary? Teacher. It is very important to have a native teacher who can teach you the right things, who you can ask questions anytime, and who is a native speaker of the language. Friends. I was able to keep motivated because of my friends. We are able to support and encourage each other, and those friends became my precious friends. Clarity of purpose. It is said that it is very important to have a clear objective in order to learn something. Especially when learning a foreign language, it is very important to have a strong purpose and strong motivation. Even if you live in a foreign country, if you have no desire to learn, you will not be able to learn it even if it takes 10 years. You need to have a clear idea of why you want to learn the language, and to study with a high level of curiosity and strong motivation. Because I had the clear goal in mind, I was able to continue studying without losing heart, even when I was having a hard time understanding English. In order to study Japanese continuously, you will need to be motivated to study Japanese. To achieve this, it is necessary to set a clear goal. So, in my lessons, we have a consultation before you take the lesson. This consultation will help you clarify your goal. I went to Australia to study English and attended a language school. I invested over $7,500 in total. But I have no regrets. Why is that? Because I have expanded my world by being able to speak English. A language is a lifetime asset. It will help you for the rest of your life, and it will enrich your life. I'm glad that I didn't give up because of money at the time. I truly believe that, and I hope you will feel the same feelings I had when you are able to speak Japanese. When you can speak Japanese, you will be able to do many things. For example, you can make Japanese friends, you can live in Japan, you can work using Japanese, and so on. Here are some comments from my students. If you are interested in this video, I'm offering a free consultation and trial lesson, so please take it. In the free consultation, we'll clarify your current level of Japanese, your concerns, what you want to study Japanese for, and so on. Then you will receive a 45-minute trial lesson, which is what I usually give, so look forward to it. Please apply messaging on WhatsApp. This is limited to 3 students per month, so don't delay. Let's study Japanese together. 一緒に頑張ろう!